All right, coach. So, I mean, we work with a lot of like basketball athletes. Probably everyone in the basketball world already know you, but still, uh, consider like a lot of my fan base is are in Taiwan. Can you like introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Mike Chatman from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm the head strength coach here at LSU for men's basketball. I've worked with a ton of sports to start my career. My first full-time job was actually ice hockey, field hockey, and so I have a really unique, in my opinion, view of how the body because I've seen so many sports and been exposed to so many different things that I think it's helped me become really well balanced. Um, Really just believe in doing the old school things that work and combine them with the new science and 3D movement and fascia and all that type of stuff. So I don't think there's anything that I won't try, but as long as we have tools in the toolbox.
Cool, cool. So, wait, I did not know you start with ice hockey.
hmm
Tell me a little bit about like how you train the ice hockey player and and what's the difference between training those guys and basketball player?
So I did women's ice hockey, but obviously the basketball guys are a little bit longer limbed. They're a lot taller. I don't let that dictate a lot of my training changing. Like length is like you don't get to be less strong because you're tall. That's insane. Like your body's your body. You gotta learn how to move within it and develop strength. But hockey is just such a unique thing. They sit in these skates with their ankles locked and they push out the hip. What their hips go through on a daily basis. The conditioning, the whole process of what it takes in hockey. It's just an effort sport. It's really interesting because like it's a really expensive sport to play. So you think, oh man, it's not very blue collar. Those kids play so hard. And the cool thing about it is hockey starts before football and ends after basketball, and they play twice a week. I think hockey athletes are some of the most dedicated, hardworking, most abused because of how their sport, because you have all the collisions of football at higher speeds because you're on skates and ice, but you also do it back-to-back days. So imagine playing football on Saturday, Sunday instead of just Sunday, and doing it for this course of 4 to 5 months.
Cool. So, do you always want to work with basketball?
Um, I do. It's just something I'm passionate about. I love the game. I think I'm blessed to be able to sit and watch basketball every day. I get free clothes, free shoes. Get to travel the country and the world watching basketball. I love it. But I wouldn't consider myself a basketball guy. I consider the system and how I train guys and how we go about it. You can use that for any sport. It's a movement-based strength system that's built around maximizing genetic potential and meeting you where you are. So I don't think that fails any sport.
Hmm. So, um, one of the reason like I want to invite you on is because obviously last year, me and Anna went on a trip to like I think it's 10 D1 Part 4 school, and like you guys definitely have bounce. Probably perform the best at like jumping and change of direction, right?
Mhm.
So talk to me about talk to me a little about like how you prepare your guys in terms of like because what we did is like vertical with force plate and linear and lateral.
Mhm.
And usually what happens is like if some guys are pretty good at like vertical, they're probably not so good at uh linear or lateral, right? But you guys are overall pretty good at like almost everything. So talk to me about that.
Um, I think it starts with intent and then movement quality. Can you own positions? Can you dominate space? Can you get in distance where you can push? How are you pushing? Where are you in space? And then from that, laying down strength on top of that. And then fast eccentric work. It's kind of working through our full gambit and our full development process. So you come in, we'll evaluate you, we'll see who you are, and then we'll start to try to expand your movement vocabulary to make you more proficient at being a better mover. Once you get that, I like to lay some isometric stuff down upon, make sure you can hold and maintain the position. And then from there, we start to do some strength things. So let's have some concentric stuff where now you're pushing, and then do some fast eccentric stuff to where now you're dropping and pushing. And but all that time as we hit through all these things in the continuum, we're still, I love the crap out of these dudes. I'm not like you're gonna see weights in the hands, you're gonna see weight on the back, and we're gonna drive intent with everything we do. So I think that gives us a more robust movement system because we're trying to produce force in every direction, right? And so I think when they're free and they don't have to think about it, just go, they can express that in whatever way it means they need to.
All right. So before I dive a little bit deeper into like your training philosophy or your training system, I want to start by I want to like ask how you get buy-in from the athletes because obviously like I work with Bryce and he was
Mhm.
like, man, Mike Chatman is the guy. He's the GOAT. So I'm like, how do you get like the buy-in or the trust from your athlete?
Yeah, man. My personal philosophy is you mentor the man and develop the player. And I don't think you can touch the player until you touch the man. And what I mean by that is, do they trust me? Right? Are they bought into me and what I want to do and what I believe? And do they know that at the end of the day, if they call me at 2 a.m., I'm picking up the phone and come and get them? And I think if you ask all the guys that I've worked with, they know if they call me, like they got me. And I think that is the foundation for everything I do. Like man to man, person to person, I'm always deal with the man first because it's hard to help a broken man be a great player because like, there's too many holes and gaps. Those things are kind of intertwined together, right? And so once you get to that point, and where you can get close to them, and you can be able to whisper in their ear and get your hand on them to work with them, it's really important that you give them things that they can find small successes immediately because that builds buy-in. So how can I get a small success? Because if you get a small taste of success, you want to come back and get some more. And then now we got consecutive days of it. And they keep coming back, keep coming back, keep coming back. And then they start to believe in the process, start to believe in you, right? No matter what your process is, right? And so I think that is how I go about it. Um, I know in the world we live in where there's NIL and money and whatnot, money doesn't eliminate problems. It probably magnifies them more than anything. And so when you look at someone who's looking at you for you, not you for what you can do or your skill set or what you have, I think it's easier to build trust with guys that way. And I think for me, that's super important to me that I'm impacting them as men first.
So I'm glad that you brought up this NIL thing because obviously it's different, right? Guys get paid a lot more and like they probably basically like transfer to different school every year,
Mhm.
right? So just out of curiosity, at this NIL era, are you still able to build the same relationship or the same trust with the athletes?
Yeah, I haven't had an issue with it. Um, it's interesting. There's this quote I hear the kids say all the time. It's like, "Be you, they'll adjust." Like, when they come into your program, like when they come into your home, like there's rules in my house, right? Like, whether just because I got a job on my house, I couldn't do what I want to do. So I don't think those things change that much. So the money doesn't stop you from being a person. Money doesn't stop you wanting to improve. Money doesn't stop you from wanting to play. Like, like it doesn't really affect it all that much if it's about how you go about it. Right. And I think there's some old school values that I'm going to stick to and stay around this is how I'm going to do it. And like, it's not you working for me. It's not me working for you. We're working together for the betterment of your career and your life. And I think when you come in from that standpoint, who doesn't want that? Right. So
So another question is like, mm, I don't know about you, but like a lot of young coaches out there probably think that strength coaches are fancy. Like deal with all these like superstars. We train all those like guys, and like you're at LSU. I was at me and Adam was at Louisville at those like super high level like, elite athlete. So are you always like that approach in man first? Are you always like that?
You mean just like direct and with the players?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, always. I don't care if it's
At
men.
the at even at the beginning of the career.
Now, at the beginning of my career, yeah, I've been blessed to have some great mentors, man, and I'd be lying if I said I had it all figured out. But like, I worked under some absolute legends in this field, and I've got learned from all their years of mistakes and all their years of successes. And the one thing that I left with is how to handle players and how to deal with people, and like people. Um, People talk about different things. So like I was at Todd Wright for a little while, and people remember Todd for like certain things. What I remember about Todd is we had a custodian named Mr. Jesse at Tech. And every time Todd saw Mr. Jesse, he stopped what he's doing, he hugged Mr. Jesse and say hello. And so just learn how to treat people, and that piece of it is so valuable. Like no one's too small for a hello. No one's no one's not worth your time. You know what I mean? And I think when that goes into it, I think that those things really made an impact on me to see guys who are really considered to be elite at their field be so humble. And the guys I worked with who weren't so humble, I learned from them too, because sometimes you learn what not to do. But I've been really, really blessed. And I think when you put the person first in your programming, it's impossible. It's really impossible to not win.
Nice, nice. All right. So I want to go back to this NIL thing. Obviously, it changed a lot of stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like I mentioned, like it's hard to get the same athlete come back, or this like the full. It's basically impossible to get the full team return.
Mhm.
So, in your mind, or like in your experience, do you think we still have this like long-term athletic development?
Um, no, but it's long enough.
So, how do you like? Because I mean, you only got very limited time to prepare the athletes for the season, and after the season ends, like they basically just leave, right?
Mhm.
So how, I guess, yeah, I guess my question is like in those like very limited time, how do you prepare the guys for like the season?
Yeah, so I mean, the moment you step back into where I mean, you're at block zero. You have to earn your way out of it, and that's not a bad thing. Everything starts for me in like work capacity and how to work. And so let me explain this to you. Like there's how to work, which is our pace, our technical proficiency, our competency, and then our capacity, how much you can do. Right. So we're gonna come in and we're gonna get really technically sound. That means we have to get sound that fits your biomechanical needs that from our initial assessment. From there, we're gonna get to like capacity. So how do we grow your work capacity as big as possible? Because like most of these guys are novice lifters, right? So like they don't need maybe right off the back a bunch of max strength, and they probably can't handle it right off the back, right? But it's amazing the gains you get from novice lifter just by doing general GPP stuff, right? So like uh 5x6, 8x4, 10x3, 10x4, 8x5. Like you can do it a ton of different ways, right? And just the capacity grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And with the portal being how it is, you guys jumping from level to level. So now their bodies have to change with that as well. It gives you a chance to really like grow the capacity. And then once I get past that capacity phase, I'll do like a hybrid basic strength where it's kind of work capacity, but also kind of basic strength. And so now they're moving a little weight, and maybe, in 10x3, 10x2, move some weight like that. Then I move into some different things, whether maybe further down the road, some wave loading or some other things like that. But I try to take them through the full program and not skip any steps. Because when you look at development, like can you move? Can you absorb? Can you produce force? Um, like, are you maintaining your muscle mass? Are you like all those little things that make the athlete, right? And so I try to hit all that stuff the right way at the right time. What is your position? What are you required to do? That's when the set principle comes in hand, right? And so not all of these things like kind of tie in to make our program the program. And so like I can't say that everybody on our program does one thing. So like there's gonna be some Olympic derivative, right? Like you might come in on a squat day, you're gonna see squat variation. You may see five different squats. You may see a rear foot elevator. You may see a hat flip. You may see a back squat. From whatever fits them biomechanical. That's how I'm gonna meet them where they are, and then kind of progress them through that process. If that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Because I mean, if you look at like guys like maybe like Bryce, it's probably before the, am I correct? Before the NIL era, is he?
Mhm.
Yeah. So like they basically stay at Stanford for like what, 3 to 4 years. It's different than the athletes now. And well, I'll say this, that definitely are willing to work hard to get themselves right compared to like the athletes like at this era.
Yeah, but I think it's you go back to the motivation and the capturing attention. What drives you to work, right? And so maybe they won't work just for the sake of work. But hey, I know one thing: high level athletes are competitive. I'm not proud of this, but I do it. The force plate in our area was a public training opportunity. You get there and jump, and everybody's gonna be around you. And it's just it's a fun, like it's competitive, right? And so that breeding competition, like pulling out the tendos or the V-Truve or the perch, man, that drives competition. And so if you want kids to work, not one of those guys wants to look on the bottom of that look up on that board and see that number being 15. So if that was what gets you working, that's what we're gonna do to get you working, you know? And so I think anybody can work. Is are you willing to and able to unlock what they need to be able to work?
Nice, nice. So, um, I want to go back to like the change direction and deceleration stuff we talked about earlier. So, um, like when you look at the test, like you mentioned, force plate or I don't know what like whatever technology you use, like what are some stuff you're gonna look into when it comes to like these technology?
For me, RFD, braking force, jump height, obviously what they care about. Um, Imbalances, right? Those are kind of my basics ones that I look at, and then depending on what's going on, I'll dig a little deeper. I will be honest, I'm not a self-proclaimed force plate expert. That's been my study of the years to become really proficient at force plates. But it is cool to watch the trends of your training and the effects it have on the force play. So if I'm in a phase where I want to be more elastic and I go look at the plates and I see that we're getting that change. And so depending on where we are, that's kind of how I navigate it. But there's so many things. You can get so lost in the force plate to where it's just so much stuff, right? Like how you and Adam can go on there and like it feels so I pray that one day I get there. I'm not quite there yet. But it's been really good for me um, to evaluate my training, right? Because different phases of your training, it's a different responses from the body. And so making sure we touch it often so your residuals of that training really, really help out.
Nice, nice. All right. Um, so this also go back to last year. So me and I went on like 10 schools,
Mhm.
right? And not, I'll say not a lot of program had like assistant strength coach or intern. And like there's only a few that have it. And the guys are really cool. Like really cool. I love them. So talk to me about like how you like interact with them and like how you mentor them?
That's a great question, actually. I have two guys here right now that are helping me. I have Jack Erickson and I have Brandon McGlynn, and I treat them like they're full-time guys. I use them as checks and balances. I treat them like I want them to be head guys, and I challenge them to think like head guys. Like, what would you do differently than I just did? Tell me why. Hey, look at this, what I just did. What do you think of that? Um, the mentoring process for me is not just a why you're here thing. Like once you're in the family, you're in the family, you're in the family for life. I mean, have 13 people who are working in Division One sports. And if you talk to any of them, I bet they've all talked to me within the last 2 weeks. It's not fake for me. Um, I obviously like your experience with Adam, where he like he you didn't you, like like when you're around people who treat you a certain way, like I'm preparing you to be in charge. I'm not preparing. You're not my minion, right? And in my mind, the moment you quit learning at a place, you should leave because that means it's at a dead end because everything you're going to learn won't be programming. It won't be force plates. It won't be so it may be dealing with coaches, maybe dealing with players, and maybe dealing with administration. Like there's a million things for you to learn. So if you're not learning anything and all you're doing is moving rocks from the bar to the rack, it's probably not the best learning thing for you. And I'm not gonna knock it, but I have a curriculum. We go through the curriculum, we talk through it, we do articles. They're required to do a networking assignment every day. They have to call someone and learn and talk to them. So build a network. When they lead with a portfolio and a resume. Uh, but most importantly, they leave with confidence. If you work with me, my goal is to make sure I find what your weaknesses are and we're going to develop them. So if you don't have a voice, I want to throw you in front of those guys every day. You got to teach something. Maybe it's just coaching the warm up that day. All right. When I first started, my voice was my biggest weakness, And so so I got that opportunity, right? And so I think um, it's such an important thing. This field is so you can't, I don't believe you can learn this field in a research book. You can't learn this field in a degree. You learn this field in the field. And so the more mentors there are out there that are quality mentors that develop good coaches, the better off our field is going to be. You can know every study, recite every article, and do all that stuff and be an awful coach. But if you can coach the basics and get guys to listen to you and all those intangible things, you're probably a little bit better off if you're competent as a coach and teaching the lifts and understand progression and all this type of stuff. So that's kind of my deal with the assistants I have, but they are on the same level with me. I don't talk down at them. I don't treat them poorly. Like they are head strength coaches in waiting.
Cool, because I want to share this story. So before I got offered this job, I was literally like waiting for someone to offer me a job, right?
Mhm.
And like super nervous. And I think we went on the high performance basketball symposium at Florida, right? I was literally nobody.
Mhm.
And like it was you and Randy that came to me and like talked to me. I was like, okay, okay. And that was fun. And
Yeah.
we are talking about like uh force play, anything, and that make it like so special. I was literally nobody. Everybody's trying to talk to you guys, and then you guys come to me. So that was like I was like, oh my God. Man,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Oh man, I think how you treat people is everything, man.
Yeah,
How you
yeah.
should feel like when you leave and when this thing is all done and people are holding up their rings and trophies, and I want those things now. I want them. They're gonna remember how you treated people, what type of man you were, um, uh, the reputation that precedes you. Uh, because in my mind, the best coaches that I've ever been around had these unbelievable attachments to their kids, man. Like, man, like I'm gonna give a shout out to my guy here, but I don't. He can play around on the see, but Steve Englehart, the attachment he has to his team is so special. Oh my God, like they run the wide, and you can feel it when it's real. And I think that's because who he is as a human being. And I think those are the things like just being a quiet human being and being able to touch people and all those things are really, really important.
Cool, cool. All right, last part of this podcast.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously you've been in this field for a long time,
Mhm.
and you help a lot, like you help a lot of young coaches, and you help a lot of athletes, like the guys we talked about. They love you, man. They literally say you're the best. They love you. So, what are some advice for the young coaches out there who maybe want to be a director of performance in the D1 school? They maybe want to go pro whatsoever. They maybe want to work with different sport, but what are some advice you can give to the young coaches?
Um, Never put your program before the person. Um, and the more tools you have in the toolbox to give you a more robust skill set to deal with that person, the better off you're going to be. Be as good as a coach as you are as a practitioner. So be as good as you can be, X's and O's, strength conditioning, progressive overload, but be equally as good at being able to motivate, touch, and talk to people. Because when you combine a practitioner and a coach together, you get a really well-rounded individual that can work in any environment.
Nice, nice. Man, this gives me goosebumps. For real,
Yeah.
for real. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, that was awesome.
Wow.
All right. So, for those who are interested in what we're talking about today, where can they reach out to you?
My Instagram is mchat24, mchat24. My email is mchat at lsu.edu. I have open door policy here. I have nothing to hide. I have nothing, no secret. So always willing to talk shop. Always willing. I'm open, happy have someone come down and watch or chat or whatever. So that's it.
All right.